This is the DJI Avata 360. And in today's video, we're going to talk about and review it, and also do some slight comparisons to the Antigravity A1 that I've also reviewed in the past. It is not really a comparison. The Avata 360 is superior in a lot of ways. There are just a few spots that the Antigravity A1 does beat it, but I'm going to mainly focus on things you should know and also reference and highlight those in today's video. So for the Avata 360, the package that I have here is with the N3 goggles as well as the Motion Controller 3. I chose this combo simply so I could have a direct A and B comparison to the Antigravity A1. That way you have goggles and a controller. Obviously with this, I do personally like this setup a lot better. Why? Because this whole system is about half the cost. I should also add that neither the Antigravity A1 I received from that company, and I did not receive this drone from DJI, so I feel like that is a pretty unbiased, unsponsored review from those two companies. One of my bigger complaints with the Antigravity A1 was the fact that the goggles had this rather expensive looking screen on the front that really wasn't practical when you had them on, because you were looking around and it was hard for someone to look as an observer to look at you and kind of figure out what was going on. However, I do appreciate that the goggles here don't have any of that added fluff. Now, yes, you can get a different set of goggles, but I found that this is practical enough to make this affordable, but also not crazy stupid expensive that it just doesn't seem viable. The taking off and landing mechanism for this, I think, is just bluntly speaking superior. The ability for this whole gimbal assembly to also be the landing gear was quite a smart choice, versus the Antigravity A1 has the actual motors themselves that pull up the landing gear. This, I think, works really good. Overall, if you have seen videos on the N3 and the motion controller already, if you've used this for the Avata, these aren't different, they're the same things. I do find though that at least when just using this, I want to say that the Antigravity A1 system, the user interface was just slightly better. However, I didn't think it was something that I would even consider that drone for. This is more than good enough, and it is definitely, I want to say, pretty intuitive and pretty good to use. It also comes with a bag and a landing pad, and it works, all that works great out of the box. I also want to give thanks to JANGYAO, which basically sent over this drone for review. You can find both the Antigravity A1 and the Avata 360, as well as a number of other DJI drones, on their website. They don't have any tariffs or import taxes. Their store includes a number of various different things, also like additional spare parts. So if you do happen to crash one of your drones, you can go through and purchase just the parts that you need to repair it. Since having DJI repair stuff currently in the United States is a little difficult, if you want to find some spare parts, that's also a really good source too. So a big thanks to them for providing this drone for today's video so that we can review it. One of the things that I really like about this drone is the ability for it to have both a double and single lens mode. That way you can fly it in a single lens mode, capture just the standard 4K frame looking forward, but you do disable some of the obstacle avoidance sensors, so when the drone is flying, the gimbal is flat and it is in the 360 degree mode. You can of course look around while pointing in a certain direction, so you can kind of get a more traditional VR view. You can look around and see some things. This drone also does have true 360 degree obstacle avoidance. The Antigravity A1 claimed to. I don't know if it was entirely marketing, because every time that the drone would move, it would move to a direction and then use the two front sensors. I didn't actually have any indication that it was doing obstacle avoidance around me, versus with this drone, I was actually able to truly see the full 360 degree obstacle avoidance. The camera sensors on this are larger, which means that the obstacle avoidance is better, and you also now benefit from front-facing LiDAR as well for the obstacle avoidance. When you have it set in single lens mode, it does only keep the front camera sensors and the front LiDAR on, and it doesn't do the full 360 degree obstacle avoidance. I believe that is because it uses the top and bottom camera sensor in order to develop that 360 degree obstacle avoidance, and obviously when it's not in that mode, it's not going to work like that. Flight time on this drone is close to about 20 minutes. And if you're using the Antigravity A1, that starts at about 30 or 40 minutes depending on which package you get. So if you're looking for something with substantially longer flight times, I would pick that one. However, the 20 minutes on these batteries was noticeably shorter, but also it wasn't too limiting. I think that is really the only clear benefit I can give the Antigravity A1, is that it definitely has a lot better battery options if that's something that's important to you. But again, at almost half the price, you could easily get an additional set of 3 batteries and still come out substantially cheaper than you would with the Antigravity A1. I think it's clear that they did make some certain choices, like with the goggles and with the RC, to make it more reachable. But again, the picture quality is better with the lenses, especially with the larger camera sensors, and the transmission did not have any issues. That was one of my biggest complaints with the Antigravity A1 was just that the transmission quality was pretty bad. And while I did encounter some stuttering and the transmission did have some issues at certain points, it was not anywhere close to as bad as what I experienced in the Antigravity A1, putting it and testing it in the exact kind of same environment. As for the video and photo quality, again, it is a substantial step up from what I saw with the A1. It is not like a huge difference, but it is very apparent that this is a bigger sensor, so you have less noise. I decided to fly this in the dark and also fly this outside, and I did feel like there was less noise there. Now, Antigravity A1 is an Insta360 spinoff or shell company, whatever you want to describe it as. And it's very apparent that they have, I want to say, a better software ecosystem, especially for editing and using the 360-degree photos and videos. The DJI system, with now that they have like their Osmo 360 and stuff like that, it has gotten better, and I want to say it's 95% of the way there. Again, it's not something that I would choose the Antigravity A1 over this drone, because fundamentally at its core, the sensors and the transmission quality and the day-to-day usage of this, I do feel like is just vastly better. Now, another thing too, I'm just going to make a quick comment for those of you that have never experienced anything with like 360-degree cameras, is keep in mind that by nature, you are going to have to reframe things. For those of you that are familiar with 360-degree cameras, this isn't a big deal, but you will probably never be able to get the same video quality if you are just taking a standard 16:9 video from a 360-degree camera drone like this versus like a DJI Mini 4 Pro. Because just by nature, the quality when you crop in and when you do all the work on the 360-degree camera is going to be less, and it's going to be less quality. 8K is great, and I would say this drone is absolutely great if you're just trying to capture some dynamic angles, maybe doing some light social media work. But if you're doing anything in which it's kind of professional video that you want a fixed view, you do, of course, benefit from having like a DJI Mini 5 Pro. This is really good if you're trying to capture a lot of action at a certain point. But just keep in mind the trade-off is your video quality will be slightly less, no matter how good the sensor or the capture rate is. Also, these video files are large because it is technically 8K video, and it's another thing to keep in mind when you do this. Also, the Antigravity A1 was all foldable and it could shrink down into a reasonable size. I didn't like the bag setup on it. It was kind of a little weird with the case and stuff, but it was at least somewhat portable. This is also somewhat portable, but you don't get to fold the drone down at all. It is still basically an Avata, so it is not something that's super foldable. However, the case is pretty robust, and now that you have 360-degree optical avoidance with those additional front-facing LiDAR sensors, it is a little bit more difficult to crash. Also, the drone does move to face the direction that it's heading, even though you can clearly see it's detecting obstacles on the side when it's facing a certain direction. So I would say that this is, especially with the LiDAR, a little bit more reliable in the obstacle avoidance testing as well, at least in my testing. If you're interested, I'm trying to compile a universal database of the best flying spots as well as ground rules in the United States. I want to make this as a free service and I need your help. It's entirely free to do. You just need to go on there, input your favorite spots to fly, as well as any local ground rules, because trying to navigate ground rules is ridiculously difficult, and also finding good spots to fly for drones is also kind of difficult. That is dronemap.com. And you can just go through, sign up, and submit a couple reviews of your favorite spots. Some things that I thought were kind of interesting was, first off, the acro modes. It has the option to have built-in acro modes. I don't have the newer DJI FPV controller to fly this in a fully acro manual. However, the flips and all the other like fun tricks that it said that it could do are all done in camera and doesn't actually move the drone. Like the Avata and stuff, they will actually flip. This one does not. So it's kind of a very interesting thing that it's all just like in camera, like you have it do a flip and the whole like camera flips, but the drone doesn't move at all. It's actually kind of funny because if you're recording 360-degree camera view and you're just flipping in camera, it doesn't make any sense because you can of course do that in post. It's literally adding no really added benefit, maybe other than just showing your friends, but the drone doesn't move. So I just thought it was really silly. Really weird situation there. So who is this drone exactly for? Well, I definitely think it fits a very specific niche. If you're someone that likes flying, maybe for the experience, likes the kind of the VR aspect of it, being able to look around, flying in a certain direction, maybe just enjoys having the fun of that, that's a great option. I do think that this experience is vastly superior to a lot of the camera drones, just because, like I'm saying, the DJI Mini 5 Pro, Air 3S, Mavic 4 Pro, the flying experience is vastly better. Some of those drones don't even have the goggles supports yet. So the experience in flying this is a lot, I want to say, funner. You have the ability to look around, ability to stay in the same direction. It does take some getting used to if you're familiar with just flying sticks than using the motion controller. However, it is a fun experience. The video quality that you'll get from this is not better than those drones, but it definitely is, I want to say, something you could definitely use if you're just trying to get some maybe action shots on the side. Another thing to keep in mind too is the picture, the quality, the size of these pictures is 120 megapixels, I believe, versus the Antigravity A1, which gets you about like 50 or 60 if I remember correctly. So that is a substantial difference. And also I just thought was very interesting because, especially if you use like the camera drones on the Mavic, for example, if you use that to take a 360-degree picture, it will go through and capture all the pictures and stitch it all together. And that takes about a minute at some points, just between starting, I want to say it feels like a minute. It takes a good chunk of time for it to capture each picture, then stitch everything together in post. And of course, if there's a lot of changing conditions, you don't really get to reframe any of that in post. So if it's like really windy and the clouds are moving, the picture, the time between taking one picture and time between taking another picture can change. And so you can have some really sharp cutoffs versus this is, it takes a picture and it's full 360-degree photo at once. And you can capture a lot of action with that. So this is really good if you're trying to capture action, more so than I would expect. Also, the active track was a little weird. It's weird because when you're tracking something, it will show you where the person is that you're tracking, so you can kind of stay close to them. But by nature, it also is not like the DJI Mini 5 Pros or the camera drones. I'm just going to refer to them all as the camera drones because they doesn't actually keep the camera on the person and then move with the drone. It kind of just lets you keep a certain direction and then keeps a window open so you can see what you're kind of tracking. By nature, this is a 360-degree drone. You can reframe things in post. I get that. It's just a different approach to the tracking. So I think a lot of the cases, the only things that I really could give the Antigravity A1 credit for is just the battery flight time, maybe slightly the user interface. However, at the end of the day, I don't think the extra battery times justifies the price, the substantial jump up in price, also the quality difference that you're getting on these cameras by using the system. Now, obviously, you also get the added benefit of being able to use a DJI RC2 like such here as a actual controller rather than having to use the motion controller, which was one of my really big complaints with the Antigravity A1 is I got motion sick with that. I did get slightly motion sick with this, but also this was less. Like, this is crazy that this doesn't have any external cameras, and I believe this uses all just like an inboard gyro. And this didn't make me as motion sick, especially with all of the, like, I think it was also transmission related that, like, just because there was some lag with the transmission, I didn't get anywhere near as motion sick with the DJI system as I did with the Antigravity A1 system. And since I got neither of those drones from their respective companies, I'm kind of free to say my honest opinion here. And then also having the ability to use an actual controller with a screen just adds icing on the cake, because if you get motion sick, and if you're someone that gets motion sick, just use a controller. Like, that was my big complaint with the A1 is you didn't even have the option to use an onboard controller if you got sick with the goggles, which I did. And so it basically was like I just had no choice but to like return it, which, by the way, that is the only drone I've ever returned that I've purchased. I've purchased almost all my drones now. Just crazy that that drone still remains the one that I have had to return. This one's wonderful. And I think the added camera quality, especially with the price, especially with all that you get, with the extra battery kit here, such a convincing option if that's something you're really to consider. Now, personally, for me, as someone that just makes content on YouTube that really does like having my fixed frame and that high quality single view, I personally would not buy this drone in that case. It just doesn't fit my workflow. But if I really was looking for something fun to fly and I didn't know how to build my own quads and do that, I think this would be a compelling option in that regard. I really do see a lot more value in the camera drones with a fixed view and having a single high quality frame rather than the 360-degree view with the cropping in and kind of getting a lower quality frame. However, this does offer a whole bunch of flexibility, and if I was someone that was focusing more on the action shots, this definitely could be a much more justifiable case because you have a lot more flexibility in post to reframe. And I think for a lot of the reasons why people buy drones, if you're doing real estate photography, maybe photogrammetry, maybe you're doing some professional work, I'd say that most times you're probably okay with a standard camera drone. And if your workload is primarily action-based, then this definitely is a convincing option because with the standard Avata, with the single view, with a single frame, the Avata 2, for example, versus this, you get a whole bunch more flexibility. There is also some potential that this does get waypoints in the future, and if that does, I'll make a dedicated waypoint video, how to use waypoint map with this drone. Also, I will be including a link to a drone invoice link, which will have all the original files as well as the 360 photos and 360 videos exported from DJI's studio so that you can preview and check these out and see if this is what you're looking for before you decide to go ahead and purchase. Again, that link will be in the description, so feel free to check it out if that's something you're interested in. And also check out my upcoming videos on like the DJI Lido X1. Thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you around soon, and check out my other videos on the channel on other cool drone related content.